Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome. It's time for a little overreaction Monday magic right here on Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That's Anwar Richardson. This video brought to you by Rogue Shop. As always, it's a Monday, and if it's a Monday, you can probably use some Rogue Shop. Go to the website, vote for them right now in the big poll. I'll get that link out. We've had it on Orange Bloods. We've had it on our socials. I'll make sure we get it out again. Trying to help Rogue Shop out with the contests they're having in their local neighborhood. But Anwar, before we'll circle back around to the great people at Rogue Shop before we get too deep into this video. Maybe tell them about some Christmas specials. Are you ready to overreact following a weekend where the Longhorns get their biggest win of the season? And then the weekend leaves them feeling pretty empty on a Monday. It feels like maybe we're in the bargaining stage of grief for a lot of Texas fans as we wait till the Tuesday playoff rankings are released. But for a team that has the resume that Texas has, there's nothing but kind of doom and gloom as to what we should all expect, given that college football's not ready, I think, to view Texas through the prism of, are they one of the best 10 teams in the country? I've noticed a lot of angst in Austin and surrounding parts for the last 72 hours.
Yeah, I mean, Cody's trying to give them hope, and Cody is fighting the good fight, right? But the reality is, Catch, there was a lot of dominoes that needed to fall on Saturday, and only one fell, which was Michigan losing.
I mean, a couple would have been nice. I don't know that like they all needed to happen, but give a man a bone. Give a man a bone.
They got one, and nobody else lost. So now, what sounded really good, Catch, on Friday when Sark went on his, hey, this would be a disservice to college football if we're not in the playoffs, and kind of talking about the wins that they had. You're basically asking the committee to do whatever it takes to pacify Texas and Texas fans, right? Because you're essentially saying, hey, jump this team all the way up to 10 over the teams that only have like 2 losses, right? Or 1 loss in the case of BYU. And the reality is, Catch, that's probably not going to happen. The reality is that's probably not going to happen. Can they jump a spot or two? Maybe. I don't even know how much this team's going to jump, if we're just being quite honest with you. And I think we're at the point from an overreaction where I think everyone wants to point the finger at something. And the setup is blame the committee. That's going to be the big thing. Blame the committee. Let's blame the scheduling. Let's blame all these other things, right? And then it's like, or we can blame ourselves for losing games that, 1, you should not have lost, and 2, you should not have lost in that manner. But I don't know how many people want to go to that conversation yet, Catch. I think they still at the, whatever the stages of grief is, it's still at, I'm looking at all the anger part, right? But as opposed to, it's not enough of, well, maybe there's some things that we could have done better. It's interesting how the narrative has shifted from before Friday as to now where we're at now.
First of all, in a world where accountability matters, I don't think we live in that world, but in a world where it does, because every day we have to start realizing, and I think Texas fans have to start realizing that noble and bravado and all of these words that we've used to previously describe college athletics and the goal and the standard and the bar, that stuff doesn't matter. We do not live in a world where what you said last week really matters.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it. You know what? You can just deny that you've even ever said it. So we live in a world where everything is theater in the moment. And I'm fascinated by to what lengths will Texas go in the next 5 days to shake some trees. I think there are things that they can do, but it is very un-Texas-like. What Texas wants is they want everybody to respect them. They want everybody to think they're above the fray. No one does. No one does. Texas has always thought, well, we're the school that doesn't cheat. Do you know what all the schools that cheat think? That you cheat? That nobody lives in a world where they ever see Texas the way Texas wants to be seen. I'm remembering back to 2004 onward, and trust me, Aaron Rodgers is still pissed about this. When Texas looked like they might get left out of the Rose Bowl, and in order for all of this to happen, the Rose Bowl would have had to have just selected Texas over Cal, which had waited decades to be in a position to play in the Rose Bowl. Mac was on every freaking show possible. They put him on Days of Our Lives because he asked. He showed up at noon next to Marlena and was like, we should be in the game because of this, and this. And it worked. It worked. By the end of it, Mac Brown talked Texas into the Rose Bowl, which they then parlayed into a win, which they then parlayed into eventually a national championship. And Aaron Rodgers forever has hated Texas. He's been pissed at Mac Brown. He felt like that should have been their Rose Bowl. And Mac Brown just out-hustled them. Mac Brown just won the game of words and set the narrative. And I think if you're Texas, you have to have a plan coming into Monday that's fairly drastic in nature. For instance, they need Sark to be on as many shows as possible today. He should be doing a Monday press conference today. They've got to get their talking points out to such a degree that the committee has to discuss them tomorrow. Because one of the things the committee loves to do is answer questions on their terms. They like to talk about how they've come to a decision based on the terms they want to set. And if they don't get asked questions like, well, what do you mean you've got Notre Dame ranked ahead of Miami? They played each other, right? They have the same record, right? Like, walk us through where that game no longer matters. Texas needs to, its resume in a lot of ways is better than teams they're going to be ranked ahead of. Steve Sarkisian needs to be loud. Texas needs to be loud. And I'm just talking about today. I'm not talking about what needs to happen in the coming days. They need the conversation to be, why is BYU even in the discussion with us? They played one team all season long. They got their ass kicked. Why are they in a discussion with the team, let alone above a team with 3 top 10 wins, the most difficult schedule in college football? What are we doing? What are we doing? How are some of these teams even in a discussion with us? That's not going to happen in all likelihood. The committee will come out with rankings, and they may not even deal with Texas Texas may be 15th. They may not even get into why they placed the 15th team behind the 14th team and the 13th team and all of these teams. They may not even be put into a position where they have to address that. Not really. And if I'm Texas, it's the talking point of the entire week. But Texas has to be the bad guy. Texas has to be okay with we're politicking. And on top of that, if Texas is behind, quite frankly, if their positioning on Tuesday night at 7:30 is they're being punished for the Ohio State game, I'm canceling. I'm doing what Nick Saban did to Texas back in 2013. Oh, you're going to dick around with me? Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to announce that I'm signing my contract at Alabama in the middle of your banquet. That's what Nick Saban did. If you're Texas, tomorrow, as soon as the rankings are announced, if your positioning has you being punished for that Ohio State game, when your resume is better than the teams in front of it, you need to announce the cancellation of the Notre Dame series tomorrow night, press release, 7:30. And then you keep going. And then we're canceling the Ohio State game next year if this is the message that you're sending us. If you're Texas, to me, the next week's got to be about beating Texas. Beat Texas. You determine the talking points. You determine the national narrative. Don't let the committee have it easy. I just don't know that Texas, that's my overreaction on a Monday, is that Texas needs to go on the assault. Steve Sarkisian's case is truly compelling. Who's listening to it, though?
Well, the thing is, Catch, I mean, the thing is that should not have been a one-off, right? That it shouldn't have been, I said it on Friday, I've done all I need to do.
He's got to be ready to be Matt Brown.
No, today should have been, there should have been a press conference today.
No, you're right. I'm saying.
It's because Tuesday, it's too late, Catch. The wheels are already in motion. Wednesday signing day.
He should have been on game day and everywhere on Saturday.
It should have been an all-out assault. But the thing is with Texas sometimes, Catch, that's kind of somewhat problematic, is that Texas is too image conscious.
That's what I'm saying.
Texas does not, or like to your point, they don't always want to be Texas. Texas has been that thing that it's like, well, we have money, but we don't really want to flaunt it in anyone's faces. We don't want to get people mad or anything like that. And we don't really want people to think that because we have money, we spend an NIL. And so anytime there's an NIL thing, it's like Texas spent money. It's like, no. We didn't spend that much money. Like we don't, they're more worried about what people think about them.
Remember the Tom Herman buyout?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
What will people say?
100%.
Kentucky just spent $37.5 million to buy out Mark Stoops. And just a few years ago, Texas was like, oh, I don't know. What are we going to do? People are going to be judging us.
Exact Catch. And again, to this, and what I'm going to say is not taking a shot at him, but Chris Del Conte is a guy that if you tweet the bathrooms aren't working in DKR, he's like, hey, we're going to get someone down there right away, right? It's because he doesn't want people to think anything negative of him, and he'll try to address that as well. And instead of just saying, listen, y'all, to your point, Catch, instead of saying we are the big bad mamma jammas here, and we run this block, instead of saying, hey, everything I'm agreeing with you, but they won't do that. And until Texas is willing to be Texas, and if they just think something's going to magically happen, it's not going to happen. And this would have been the perfect day to say, man, to hell with this. Would have been a perfect day for Sark to go. Oh, hey,
Kirby Smart should be getting a Steve Sarkisian question at his press conference. Coach, Steve Sarkisian did an interview yesterday where he talked about the strength of the SEC, and he believes that 11 teams from the SEC should get in. Do you agree with Steve? You know what I mean? Like they should be making waves.
Because here's the deal. That happened on Friday, and then what kind of became the biggest talking point over the weekend? Lane Kiffin. It just got washed away. It was, oh, that's cool. Man, can you believe this Lane thing? There's a plane that's going on, like all this stuff, and it just got washed away. And instead of just commanding it and saying, yo, man, no. Let's get back to the subject at hand, because you're right. There are arguments to be made. And guess what? When people came up with counter arguments over the weekend, it should have been, now here's our counter to the counter, because you want to make the playoffs. Like
it's not, there's still time. Like they're not acting like a team that's truly desperate to be there. If this were Baylor would have Dave Aranda. They'd be calling up cooking shows. Hey, we got it by any means necessary. Texas very much is of the opinion. Their attitude is like, well, we'll wait and see what happens. And it's like, no. You've got to be the smart. The name of the game in college athletics in 2025 and beyond is to be the smartest person in the room. And by the way, you and I are not the smartest people in the room. But you know what? For the last 12 months, we've been talking about the danger of that Ohio State game way before it was ever played. Correct. We knew coming into the season that there were 3 huge road games. Now, Florida ended up not being as good as we thought, but we talked all offseason about you have to play A&M, you have to play Ohio State, you have to play LSU on the road, or excuse me, Florida on the road. Georgia. OU is a neutral. Like, we knew that the games were dangerous and that 3 losses was always a possibility.
By the way, we always said Florida was a dangerous game. We just didn't expect Florida to be bad and Correct. Then it become a dangerous game. But we thought DJ Lagway and we thought that Florida team would be better. So we did say it was dangerous. Just when the season started, Florida seemed like they sucked. So then we kind of like, well, we don't know what we're talking about. That's so.
The bottom line is that I don't think Texas has or will show. Like, I won't be surprised if Sark's on game day on Saturday. It's too late. It's too late. They have to be way more aggressive than they've been. I cannot believe 48 hours have passed since they beat Florida, since they beat A&M on Friday night, and we haven't seen Sarkisian. Yeah. Your team is the underdog. You got to throw some Hail Marys. You have to shake it up, and call it extortion if you want to. If you're Sark, I'm just saying, look, he already said the little thing out loud, right? Well, maybe these games shouldn't be questioned. I'm telling you, I've got the press release ready. If Texas is behind teams with 2 losses that they have a better resume than, I'm announcing the cancellation of the Notre Dame series in the middle of the announcement. And if it's not asked on the show, it will at least hover around the show. It will look like they avoided the question. It will be a question going into the weekend. And if I'm Texas, I'm like, look, and I'm telling my TV partners, I'm calling Disney and I'm saying, just so you guys know, we're just going to cut Ohio State a check for $2 million and cancel that game. Like, sorry. If y'all want that game, y'all might want to call the playoff committee and tell them, because otherwise that game's getting canceled. Yes, we know it's a home game. Yes, we know we played on the road and that they owe us one. We don't care. We'll cancel it.
Yeah.
And we'll pay the $2 million. Tell us where to send the check to.
Correct.
Like, you've got to be you cannot be afraid to be the bad guy when this is over with. If you get left out, don't let it be because you didn't try hard enough, that you didn't do as much as you could have. Let it be because you did everything you could, and they said it wasn't enough. And then, to me, then you've got to be prepared to then strike with the nukes. Then you've got to be prepared to cancel all of the series. It has to be a big enough of a headline. You have to do it in a way that every school in the country sees it. They're all talking about it, and they're all going, God, if Texas is doing it, why would we play the games if Texas is telling us they won't? Why would we competitively put ourselves at a disadvantage that you know who's not going to play tough games anymore? A&M. You think they're going to do it if Texas isn't doing it? No, there's a power play that Texas can pull here. And it's the thing, Anwar, that their rivals think they do all the time, right?
Correct.
Oh, Texas goes into the spring meetings and they throw their weight around and they get whatever they want. Really? Is that what really happens? No, it is not what really happens, but it could be. It could be. Texas likes to be a good partner, even if their partners that they're trying to be good to will never view them as good.
Correct.
It's like whenever I try to win a popularity contest, there is nothing that's ever going to change the fact that a lot of people just hate me. So why would I program for them? Why would I go out of my way to try to win them over when there's no chance? No chance. And I think Texas has to view that they're every once in a while, go be Texas. Stop saying what will everybody think about us and start saying, what's everybody going to be saying about us?
I mean, Catch, think about this. There's some people in this conference, and this is where I think that we're Sark and company, to your point, and just kind of agreeing on it. You know who's not afraid to flex and show everybody I'm a big bad man and I don't give a damn what you think? Kirby Smart. You think Kirby would take that thing lying down? Not at all. Kirby is a guy that in a game will tell somebody, a referee, man, I didn't do that. You better change that call. Man, I was clapping my hands, man. What? I was not calling a timeout. Change the damn call. And you know what those referees do? Man, Kirby said he was clapping, man. I guess we need to go ahead and change it. And you know what? And they did it, right? And Kirby's never afraid to be Kirby. You know who's somewhat of an a-hole too? Because I just mentioned him. Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's unashamedly, I don't give two rats asses. This is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. And I don't care what you do or do not think about me. And that's where Texas has to be. I don't care. We don't care. Kirby doesn't give a damn. He does not give a damn. And Kirby, no, he does not care. And I've been
talking about Lane Kiffin
Kirby before in person. That guy's arrogant. He don't give two Fs.
What I said about Lane Kiffin last night in my column, and I think a few people read it. I'll correct it for the record if anybody has a question. I just don't know how mad I'm supposed to be about any of this Lane Kiffin stuff when you consider that this is a sport that gave us the Joe Paterno Penn State scandal and the Art Briles Baylor scandal and the cheating scandals and all of the stuff that just has gone on and on and on. This is a dirty sport. It's a dirty sport. When somebody was talking about Kirby Smart, a source of mine, a couple of weeks ago, and described Kirby Smart as like the sociopath of all sociopaths, that they're all sociopaths. They all are. He's a special kind of sociopath. This is the sport. This is what it really looks like. You don't want to see how the sausage is made. You just have to win. That's it. That's it. And Texas, I'm being critical. I only mean from 30,000 feet up. Historically, they're a half measures type of program. They are reactionary. We don't want to pay the most amount of money for a coach, but we're okay with paying the second most amount of money for a coach, right? We don't want everybody to think we have the most expensive NIL roster, but we want people to know that we spend money in NIL. It is
transfer portal
that they do. And they don't have to. That's the thing.
Transfer portal too, Catch. We want to get a couple of guys out the portal, but we don't want everybody to think that we get like most of our roster out of the portal. We can't do that.
Coaches hate it when the NIL gets any credit at all.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what are you saying about us? We're not saying anything about you other than money matters. And like Texas, you know what Texas Tech's not worried about right now? Whether or not Joey McGuire gets enough credit for taking his team to the playoffs. No one there is like, I'm a little sad that everybody keeps acting like money is a big reason why we're here. Well, it is. It's okay. It's okay. Look at what's happening at Tech. No one's judging Texas Tech. No one's like, they're only here because of their pocketbook. Yeah.
Correct. And again, it's this, and what it is, Catch, is Texas has to get over the 48 hours of people of the conversation, right? You got to understand, yes, people are going to say something, and they said stuff about Tech, and look at them buying stuff. No one's saying it now. You know what? People talked a lot of crap about Indiana when Indiana decided we're going to pull out some of these games that really weren't that tough when you look at it. Not as tough as Texas's games, but Indiana, and people are like, man, Indiana's kind of punking out. Is anybody talking about Indiana right now at that number 2 spot and who they did and how they punked out a quote unquote a couple of years ago, Catch? That being talked about? Or they talk about Indiana as a playoff team and can they win it all? They're talking about Texas Tech and can they win it all? That's the thing. You got to get past the what are they going to say about us, because at the end of the day, they're going to talk about you anyway. It don't matter. To your point, Kat, you're talking about pleasing people who don't care, who don't like you anyway. So you know what? What does the song say? Well, give them something to talk about.
You know what else I would do if I was Sark? And I think this actually has a chance to strike. This would have a chance to hit, but it would require him to like not mind his own business. What Sark needs to do is come out and ask, hey, forget about us for a second. Somebody explain to me why Miami is behind Notre Dame. Does playing in September matter or does it not? Because those two teams have the same record. One of them beat the other and is ranked behind the team that it beat. Like they need to be blowing up everything the way it currently resides. Correct. They need to put the pressure on the committee to explain, hey, not just about Texas, really explain it. Notre Dame and Miami, go. Like, explain it to me in a way where beating them on the field matters less than fill in that part. Because if you're Texas, you want to have these same types of unconventional conversations. You got to make them have it. You have to, if you're Texas, to me, you've got to throw the Oklahoma thing out there. Tell me why. Because if you're Texas, you're like, well, wait a minute, just for the record, we have the same SEC record as Oklahoma. They're not above us in conference play.
Yes.
In fact, among teams with 2 losses in the tiebreakers, we win that tiebreaker over Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. We beat both of those 2 teams head up. Why is Vanderbilt ranked ahead of us? They didn't play. We played them. They're scheduled. Like, you just have to go one by one. You have to be willing to talk about everything, not just about you. You have to be able to say, what has BYU done? Because if you're telling me that what they've done is enough, which is beat nobody, then we'll make sure we play nobody as much as we can. Because you're telling us that just win. Okay, cool. Now we know. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Because the thing is, Texas can't ever let this happen again. Once is enough. One season completely side, because what we're learning, Texas fans are now learning the hard way that they didn't learn a year ago, but everybody will eventually learn. There ain't no success if you don't make the playoffs. You're either in the cool kids club or you're not. And in any season where you're not, it's a letdown. You didn't get it done. And Texas is learning right now, like they may go to a bowl game. It's kind of interesting on paper, right? Michigan, Citrus Bowl, I guess. It's not the worst thing in the world, but no one's going to care. And that's just the way of the world now. And moving forward, they need the sting of whatever happens in the next 8 days, if it goes against them. That needs to be their rallying cry like the Alamo forever. Well, we will just never put ourselves into a position where that can happen again. And I'm making a show out of it. I'm canceling all those games for the rest of the decade in one big-ass press release. And I'm calling out the committee chairman by name. And they're going to talk. It's going to be one of the stories of the offseason. But, man, you got to be prepared to hit the nuclear button. You can't have nuclear, it's like the little boy who cried wolf. What Texas doesn't want to be is the little boy who cried wolf. Texas did this shit last year. Ignore them. No. For once, Texas needs to be bold, aggressive, a trendsetter, the pot stirrer, the online troll, if you will. Go be that person that gets it started up. And next year, when this shit, if it ever pops up again, have them saying, oh, hell. And damn, Texas is in the discussion again. You remember what happened last time Texas was in the discussion? We thought about giving them the short end of the stick. Remember? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
Have them fear you. Right now, they don't. Right now, they think Texas will take it. They'll take it like a man. You know why? Because Texas wants to have a reputation of being the kind of institution that takes it like a man. And I just don't know where in college football that gets you in 2025. I mean, it's noble. Good for you. Good for you that you have morals. This is a moralless sport. You guys weren't even paying players for decades. Now that it's legal and all, millions for everybody. Come on, man. What are we doing? What are we talking about?
I'm 100% with you. Hey, Catch, I have a question for you, but let's knock out some of these super chats. We got 7 of them stacked up. I pinned them for you. So let's go ahead and get this out because I do have a question I want to ask you, though.
All right, we'll start. Barb's 10 jumped in with a 20 spot. Catch, spot on. Thank you. That's not why I put you on first. I just saw the 20. You think TV and streaming execs want to lose those UT, Notre Dame, UT, Ohio State games? How do you only move up 2 spots after beating the number 3 team? Ole Miss losing head coaches still in it when FSU lost their quarterback and were left out. Barbs, if I'm Sark, I'm talking about that too. I'm talking about all of them.
Everything.
Everybody can get some.
Game. Open season. But how do you guys say certain things matter? But this team that was 13-0 and won a conference championship, you left out because of their quarterback being hurt. So do the wins matter? Do the wins matter to this committee or not? Like that's the question. And the thing is, Catch, when we speak on these things, we speak on an area of expertise, which is understanding the media, understanding how to push a quote unquote agenda. Like we understand this. This is if Sark wants to challenge us on X's and O's, got it. That's you. We ain't gonna go there. But if you want to talk about how to get your message out, well, we can tell you how that goes. And how you get your message out isn't saying it once or twice on a Friday, and it isn't just. And look, John Bianco's doing a great job. Like I don't take this as a shot on John because I saw John tweeted something out this morning about an hour or so ago, and John's trying. But at the end of the day, it's got the person who's got to be at the forefront has got to be Sark, and Sark's got to be the guy that's bringing all this stuff up, all of it. Oklahoma's, the Vanderbilts of the world. Like, what the hell is going on? I would have had a press conference like normal at 12 o'clock today.
Yourself, what would Lane Kiffin do in this situation? Lane would just talk about everybody's business.
He would set it on fire. He would set it on fire and not think twice about it.
You know why? Because Lane's looking out for number 1. And you know what? Texas has got to look out for number 1 too. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that this is a sport that has seen some of the worst people in existence thrive and be supported. You can be a little bit bad. You can be a little bit bad. We've seen, my whole point wasn't to say that Lane Kiffin was like Art Browse and Joe Paterno. It was to say, we've seen these people thrive and be supported. Am I supposed to get mad at somebody because they took a job?
I mean, the only reason I'm a little bit whatever about that, I say I'm a little perturbed about it. It's just because it's more the hypocrisy than anything else. Coaches are so hypocritical.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably the only thing. I understand what happened. My only thing is, and Catch, you and I have covered this for years, the whole can't pay these guys. What are we here for years? Man, if you pay these players, all these institutions are going to go out of business. You won't have college sports if we have to have players. And with the lie detector determined that was a lie, but they said it for years. And then this is the same group of people that used to Catch as signing day approaches.
I mean, that's why it happened.
But you remember the good old days where a kid would sign on a Wednesday and then the coach would quit on Thursday?
Yes.
And it was like the hypocrisy of it.
You remember, it still happens. It happened last February. It's more so, and I know there's a coaching calendar conversation to be had at the calendar, and I totally get it. But I mean, at the end of the day, Catch, what kind of class are they really salvaging right now? I mean, in 2 days, you ain't gonna salvage much. Second signing day is probably where you're gonna get your bread. Well, there's nobody available the second signing day.
It really what it really is the transfer portal.
I mean, that's what you have to. It's funny because Kentucky set their recruiting class on fire essentially by firing Mark Stoops last night, whenever it was. And they're basically saying, I guess, whoever the new coach is, he's going to just take 30 dudes from the portal. because signing day is Wednesday. And look, part of what Lane Kiffin did was like, I gotta do what's best for
We're in the dead period right now, aren't we, Catch?
Yeah, but they needed to be able. Lamar Brown needed to be able to take a photo with Lane Kiffin last night, the number one player in the country.
Yeah.
So that when he signs with LSU on Wednesday, he nuked Ole Miss. He nuked them. He nuked them. But like that's what this sport does. All these schools knew when they fired their coaches early, they did it so that they could have hires in place for right now. And the aftershocks was always going to be, well, somebody's getting effed, but it's not going to be us. We're going to have our guy in place. And, there are schools now that are losing coaches that at least I suppose they'll have the portal. In the past, they just would have had a wasted – the shit-stained class of 2017, if you will, right? It's like it's not really the coaches' guys. Nobody's really excited about them. They'll make jokes about how they're not wanted and kind of orphans, but it's kind of what you're left with. The portal guys, it's like when Dion came in, it was like, yeah, F them kids. Give me 800 dudes from the portal. I don't really care about anything else. I don't know that Sark from 30,000 feet up, I just don't know that Sark's got it in him to go be the jerk. He kind of has to be the jerk. When Matt Brown got Texas into the playoffs back in 2004, do you know what evil thing they said about him? He was a politician. And for the rest of his career, which wasn't at Texas, was like for another half decade. It was like, oh, Matt Brown, fucking politician. So what? He won the Rose Bowl.
Dude, here's the thing. You're telling me stories. As a guy who covered sports, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if Days of Our Lives I don't know if the Days of Our Lives thing was a joke or not at the beginning of the show, but okay.
But it was close. It could have happened.
Okay. But at the end of the day, you know what I do know? I know about that Rose Bowl game. I know all about that. I can tell you about that. I can tell you about that. But how they got there?
Have you noticed how Texas fans have hated Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, yeah.
That's because Aaron Rodgers had the audacity to say, man, Matt Brown just hustled us. And Texas fans were like, fucking Aaron Rodgers, how dare he say that? And then they lost to Texas Tech in the Holiday Bowl, and they were like, see?
Yeah.
You didn't deserve the Rose Bowl. And it was like, oh, come on, guys. Aaron Rodgers is within his rights to be butthurt about it. And you know what? You got to allow him to be butthurt. And Sark has got to be willing to hurt some feelings and then be okay with, I hurt their feelings. They're going to kind of not be happy with me. Half these schools trashing Texas in recruiting anyway.
I mean, the thing is, Catch, when that saying, keep that same energy. If Kurt Bowles asks you about a disappointing season and your response is according to who, then you know what? You've got a little bit in you. So instead of worrying about the little reporters or did somebody, CJ, predict that you guys will lose the game and stuff like that? And I'll get it, use as a motivation, but use that same energy to say, you know what? Hold up. I'm fighting to make sure we are in the playoffs and not what's essentially the NIT of bowl games, which is we're going to go to the Citrus Bowl. And by the way, Catch, do you know who won last year's Citrus Bowl?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's my point. That's my point. If I asked you,
OU played Navy, I think.
In what bowl?
Not game? In the Citrus Bowl. I'm just trying to remember bowl games that were played.
We remember that because Navy won.
And A&M played USC, I think.
The name of the bowl was what?
Oh, don't ask me that. I think OU played in the Helicopter Bowl or the Army Bowl, whatever the Army Humanitarian. I don't know what that's called. It's like the Fort Worth something. I want to say it's connected to the military. I don't know. I may be way wrong.
I just know Navy won.
They may not have even played in Fort Worth. I may have that wrong too.
See, this is what we're.
I gotta look it up now. I gotta know A, where was the game played, and B, what is the name of the bowl?
But if I ask you, hey, Catch, can you name me some of the playoff teams from last year?
It was the Armed Forces Bowl.
Yeah,
it was the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl.
Where did that take place?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't say that. Let me click on the box score and see if it says it. I still don't know. I'm Googling the wrong thing. Maybe I need to Google the bowl game. Hopefully they didn't move it. I still don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's Fort Worth, though.
Okay.
It is in Fort Worth at Amon Carter Stadium. Boom. How about that? I retained that. Well, I can't give myself credit for saying I think it might be named after the armed forces. And then, so I don't know. I get like half credit.
Yeah. I only remembered it for two reasons. One, Navy won, and then two, there's a kid on the team who I used to date his mom many years ago, who plays for Navy.
Cool.
A skill position player. She used to be a model and everything, and she was just but she is pure evil. So, but I knew the kid when he was little, so I wanted to see how he played. So that was about it.
It sounds like she was fine, though.
Oh, she was fine as all outdoors. I'll show you a picture of her.
By the way, I'm going to tell you the two teams that played in the bowl game in the Citrus Bowl last year.
Okay.
You're going to tell me if you remember who won the game.
Ooh.
It was number 20. Is a Big Ten SEC game. Number 20, Illinois against number 15, South Carolina.
Okay. Illinois versus South Carolina.
New Year's Eve last year, December 31st.
What was the name of the bowl game?
The Cheez-It Bowl. The Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
I think Illinois won because I think South Carolina only finished with 9 wins last season.
You are correct. Illinois did win that game 21-17.
Okay. Give me some more.
That's all I got.
And
I had to Google that. Like I knew the armed forces thing because you lost the Navy. That's all I know. Let me ask you this. Reaction from the weekend. If we just of all of the other things that happened, while we still have time on a Monday to overreact on things.
I got plenty of time. I don't have a Steve Sarkisian press conference. You can go as long as you want today.
We have the super chats to get to as well. I forgot to knock those out. Just want to remind everybody, rogueshop.com. That's a website I need to go to. Let me just see if they've got any Christmas specials up yet. The first thing that pops up is the focus. Focus, sleep. The Advent calendar. I need to get another one of those.
Oh,
I made last year a lot of fun to have the 25 days of gummies and chocolates and all kinds of goodness. All right, let's super chats because I forgot that there was a pile of them. Ruben says the problem is Poulters will refuse to readjust the rankings. Like, why does Notre Dame get a pass? They played nobody and they lost to Miami. Why is Bama FSU loss okay, but Texas Florida loss isn't? Ruben, Texas got to make them ask and address all the questions, all of them, and not just on their terms. It's about whether or not Texas is willing to do that that we have questions about. JP Vohorn, I don't know what you meant to say, but thank you.
I don't know if he just put one in a tip jar or not.
He may have. If not, regardless, we do appreciate the fact that you tipped the dealer on that one. P. Miller says, have you guys read the article by Nicole Arbach by NBC Sports? I have not. She had Texas 12th ahead of Miami and behind BYU. It's a pretty solid article. Cool. P. Miller, I will check that out. Everybody else, NBC Sports, Nicole Arbach, interesting playoff rankings article. Thank you for that. We'll knock out a few more 499s. Dirkley says Notre Dame, Vandy, BYU, Miami, and Utah cannot beat Texas head-to-head on their own fields. Well, Dirkley, I wouldn't say that because Texas has been pretty crappy on the road all year. So now neutral field, let's go. But let's not act like those teams couldn't beat Texas on a neutral. I mean, on like at home in their stadiums, because the only 2 games that Texas won on the road this year were overtime against bad teams. Like, I mean, look, I think Texas should be in, but let's not say things that probably aren't true. But if you're Sark, say that shit. Be controversial. I don't care. Big Bird says Michigan jumped more in the AP for beating Maryland than Texas did for beating A&M. Big Bird, look, part of that is just we know how we know that AP is going to do conventional. They're not going to bump a 3 team up ahead of a bunch of teams with 2 losses. That's what they've never done. And, I need to know when Michigan beat Maryland, how many teams lost that week. This was a week where Michigan lost, and that was kind of it. Mm-hmm. And so it would have required some real work by the pollsters to really rearrange some stuff, and they didn't. They just one team lost, they moved everybody up a line. That's kind of how it went. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you it's what happened. Rome 77 says, stop saying what are they going to say about us and start saying what are y'all going to do about it. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, Rome. Be bold. Make them hate you. Give them real reasons to hate you instead of inventing reasons and getting in trouble for stuff you've never even done. Trust me, that's how I usually roll. Trey Johnson says, if the UT box scores against Vandy and UGA better reflect the realities of those games, the 9-3 argument is much stronger. BCS pageantry has never gone away. Trey, again, this is where Sark needs to be. He needs to be on SportsCenter with Van Pelt. He needs to be everywhere where there's a microphone, where somebody can listen. He needs to be on the Manning cast tonight. I don't even know if that's happening tonight, but if not, get in the middle of the game. Like, do whatever you got to do. But, man, you got to choose some pretty hard measures and not what they're typically used to doing. HDog512 says CDC cancels Ohio State and Notre Dame games, and Texas is left out this year. Or when Texas is left out this year. I think it's a threat. I still don't even know that Del Conte or the Texas admin has that kind of want to in them.
Correct. The thing is, though, you got to make them believe that you would do it, even if you're you may not. You got to put it out there, just to, who cares? But make them call their bluff. Make them do something.
It's like in Game of Thrones when Theon didn't actually kill the 2 Stark kids, but he pretended that he did because he couldn't let everybody think he just let them get away. So better to let them think you killed them than just let some kids get away.
Correct.
And you got to be afraid to be the bad guy. And even if you didn't do the thing that people are upset at you about. Let's see. We got Billy Kennedy, 9801. Everybody's got numbers in their names today. It's BK817. Okay, BK. 9801, 817. OU players that bowl game in Fort Worth, some of the goofy fans were milling around town in their OU clothes. It was sad. You know what's sad, Billy? BK187 or 817, sorry. I murdered you. When the Sooner fans wear the wagons on their head. I always wonder, man, where are the adults at with kids? At what age are you? Because I remember once I was on a bus, and there was about a 12 or 13-year-old kid that had a wagon on his head, a schooner, whatever they call that thing. And it was like, dude, you're almost at an age where you're going to, what girls think of you will matter. And you know what no girl in the history of the world has ever said when they've seen a dude wearing a goddamn wagon on his head? Oh, I want to have sex with that guy. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. It's not what they think to themselves. I don't know what they think. I just tell you what they're not thinking.
Wait, can I ask another one? Because I would agree. And we have enough women in here who can speak on that. What about the guy with the overalls with no shirt on? That guy too? When he's wearing overalls?
I mean, I think if you're a good-looking guy, you can pull that off. I think the wagon on your head, though, you can't get
wagons too much.
It's just no woman in the world has ever been I can't wait until the day I meet my Romeo when he's wearing a wagon on his head. It's just not how it happens.
So you think what do you think happens to that woman who meets him in like June and he seems like a cool guy and he's like, "Hey babe, I got some tickets to the game. It's the season opener first week for last." Hey, and she's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll go." And then he shows up.
No, because once you get a girlfriend, you've already probably altered your wardrobe attire.
Yeah.
You know, you've made the decision. I can't let her see the wagon. And she asked, like, "What is this?" It's a birdhouse. I hang it outside in the fall. The hummingbirds come by. It's a birdhouse. Yeah, man, you can't. Like, that's the thing. I don't understand, like, why they let these kids do that. Someone has to have a talk. You wouldn't just let your kid, maybe you would, just go out into the world, no bees and the birds conversation, no education of any. You got to let them know, hey, man, there comes a time in every man's life. For instance, you know, the whole Santa thing. I'm not going to say anything too loud or anything like that. At some point, they have to know. Can't be like a senior in high school going, I wonder what Santa's going to get me for Christmas. And they will hold it against you. That's all I'm saying. Billy Kennedy jumped back in and said, oh, that's the same one. He thought we missed it. And so, Billy, I'm sorry that you had to pay for the super chat twice. We were just tardy is all we were. And then Michelle jumps in late, $1.99. Arch on the Manning cast ASAP. The playoffs want Arch. Michelle, beat that drum. Put Arch. His season's over. There are no more games scheduled. Put Arch on the Manning cast. Hey, by any means necessary.
50 spot.
Jason, damn, Jason, this is what's up. $49.99. That's how you get our attention. Sorry, Michelle. We just bumped you out of the way. It's but $49.99. I do have a price. It's ridiculous that we went to a 12-team playoff where we created a committee to put the best 12 teams in, and we still get a basic thought process. After Bama and now Texas, the committee sending a clear message that only losses count. Shoulder shrug. Jason, you're right. You're right. And look, don't take that if you're Texas lying down. If you were one of the teams with Texas knows, they know they don't play Ohio State and they're sitting here at 10-2. They're probably hosting a home playoff game. I just say that over and over and over again until you've got Corso making a guest appearance on game day, repeating your talking point. You know, if Texas doesn't play that game, they're not only in, but they're ahead of all of these teams. You really have to make your talking point the talking point.
And you know what you could have done too? You could have done, who would have loved to have gone on a tour today? Mac Brown. If Matt works for UT, if he was like, hey, Matt, do your best. We need you. Matt be like, sign me up. I'll call every reporter that I know. I'll be on every radio show. We'll tag team this thing. Matt would have slayed it. He would have absolutely slayed it.
I mean, look, if at the end of this, where it's like, you guys are a bunch of crybabies. So what? I can't help but be reminded of that scene at the end of Inglourious Bastards. Spoiler alert. At the end of it, when Brad Pitt does that thing to the German soldier, and then the other German soldier's like, they'll hang you for this. And he was like, no, I'll get chewed out. Yeah. I've been chewed out before. I think I can take a chewing out. That's what you've just got to do if you're Texas. Oh, well, at the end of this, what is going to happen? There'll probably be some people on the committee that are my friends. You're probably going to be mad at me. Probably not going to send me a Christmas card. You know what? Sometimes people get mad at me, and not everybody I know sends me a Christmas card. You just got to be okay with the fact that, like, not everybody's going to like everything that you do, but you have to do what you got to do sometimes. And I don't know. I'm curious to see the way Texas plays this. They could just go out meekly, or we'll see Sark do the Saturday roundup, and it'll be like, oh, they played the conventional playbook. They didn't want to make it look like they weren't trying, but they certainly didn't want to go out of their way to try too hard. And, all I can do, Anwar, is look at this through the prism of if they're not in the playoffs, this season was a failure. And it's not fair. And did they catch a rough break? Yeah. But Steve Sarkisian is the one that calls his team a playoff program. If you're a playoff program and you don't make the playoffs, you failed, or you're not a playoff program. Which is it? It can't be both. You can't be we're a playoff program, but when we don't make it, it's not a failure. Or maybe you're just not a playoff program, and then the season doesn't have to be a failure. You're just one of those other teams. And I don't know. For me, maybe it's because I'm okay with begging. Maybe it's because I'm okay with being disliked. Maybe it's because I've been disliked for so long that the idea of just being disliked, it just is comfortable. You just learn to live with it. I just don't know that Sark has it in him to be like, I'm going to piss everybody off. Everybody. All my friends, everybody at other schools. I will. But you know what? You know who's going to love it? My players. I don't know, man. It's not ever been – I've never known anybody at Texas that was willing to slit someone's throat to try to get ahead. And this feels like a week where, like, you have to kind of do a metaphorical – we're going to do some naughty things. We're going to have to undermine some people. We're going to have to be the bad guy. And without it, I think you're playing in the Citrus Bowl. With it, you might still be playing in the Citrus Bowl, but to me, you got a better chance at making some noise and rattling some cages than being quiet, because all that does is help the committee do the thing that it wants to do anyway. It's like, oh, Texas is being great about this. I'm just going to usher them right out and they're not going to say a word. Remind me, send Chris Del Conte a Christmas card.
Yeah. Okay. I got two things for you. Okay.
Give them to me.
All right. The first thing is, at the end of the day, I had Tyler put this together for me. Okay. And I've told you the work harder, work smarter, not harder is the theme for me for the rest of 2025 and all of 2026. Okay. I want you to look at the upcoming schedule. Okay. And I just want you to look at what this looks like for Texas, because now we can probably have this conversation another day and all throughout the offseason. When I see 9 conference games, and then you look at the non-conference games for the next 4 years, Catch, is there anything you would do differently outside of just the committee itself? Or maybe because of the committee, would you make changes? Would you just say, you know what, we don't need Notre Dame in 28, 2029, which you've said. We look at 2026, that LSU game looks a lot more tough, more difficult. Is there anything you would look at this and say, you know what, we could do without?
In 2029, they play Alabama, at Georgia, Oklahoma, A&M, at Arkansas. They'll sneak in a game at Auburn. Texas got to come out of this, and they've got to say, can't ever have 3 losses again, period. You know, I have a general rule of thumb about Oklahoma, that nothing that ever happens to Oklahoma that's good for them is good for Texas. Just as a general rule of thumb. Would it be better for us if Oklahoma all the time? Their misery, your gain, their happiness, bad for you, bad for business. Texas got to go into this offseason, assuming that it goes the way we think it's going to go. And they can say that the new motto has to be, no matter what, never 3 losses again. Not until things change. And so you've got to look at 2026, 2027, 2028, and 2029. And to me, you have to eliminate anything that's dangerous from a loss perspective. Because I'm looking at that 2026 schedule. Mm-hmm. That's a hard schedule.
Yes.
You could lose 2 games in that schedule before you get to Ohio State. If you don't do it now, you could easily be right back here next year, same exact spot. What was your sin? Weren't good enough to beat Ohio State, because we never beat Ohio State. And then we went 2-2 in games against A&M, LSU, Missouri, and Tennessee. And then we beat Oklahoma, and we beat all these other teams. And at the end of the year, you've got 3 wins that look really good on paper, but you still have 3 losses. They have to, by any means necessary, we can only control what we control. We cannot control everything that's under the letters SEC. Can't control it. Everything above, below 2026 schedule non-conference, we can. We can. It might cost us $2 million to cancel each of those games that we think need to be canceled. But you know what? We'll make up that $2 million in the aggregate. We'll raise tickets $5 a piece, and then we'll just wash it all out. Like, there's a lot of accounting ways to make up for. It's like when an NBA or NFL player get fined $25,000. Yeah, they don't want to lose that money, but they'll be okay.
Yeah,
they'll be okay. They'll write it off. It's a tax. There's a lot of, you can talk yourself into. Well, it's not the worst thing that's ever happened. All right, you good, Anwar?
Yeah, I got one last thing for you.
Give it to me.
Kind of off topic. I thought of you over the weekend as I was on social media, and I was like, do you feel like it's a little effed up that everybody got to make people in Mississippi haven't been this despondent since this thing? And I'm like, oh, that's jacked up, man, because when you said it, the world lost their absolute oyster. And then all I've seen is segregation photos of Mississippi. And I'm like, damn, it seems a little unfair because everybody just thought it was a joke. And everybody just was like, ha, ha, ha. And then when you said something like that casually years ago, it was like the AD wanted your head on a platter.
Oh, he did. But, you know, one of the cool things from last weekend, or from the weekend of the wager that was, is I actually got to go do a show on the ringer.com's college football podcast with Van Lathan and that crew. And I actually love that podcast, and I'm a big Van Lathan fan. So it was cool to do the show and talk about it. And one of the things I told him was, you know, man, people know you for how they know you. And if some people just don't like you, you're never going to be funny. And it's that whole, if you write out a tweet and you think it's funny, stop and reread it and maybe just delete it, because it's probably, I did that a couple times this weekend with the word despondent on Twitter. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that I could ever say that's ever going to not make some people think I'm a jerk. So anything provocative at all is like gasoline to that, no matter how funny it is. Some people aren't allowed to be funny. They're just only allowed to be jerks. And that's kind of my way in the world. Like, it's not that I said something clever or kind of cute or anything like that. It's that I'm not really allowed to do that. And like 2 weekends ago is a perfect example of that. I literally became the first person in existence to be demanded to pay a wager that was never accepted. And when I said, can anybody, I'll do it. I will do it willingly. Can you just show me an example, one time in the history of the world, where this has ever been expected of anybody? You know what they told me on the Ringer podcast? I'm now the example. There is no previous example, but moving forward forevermore, someone will have been ketchumed if they make an offer of a bet in public and that person doesn't accept the wager, and then it just lives into the ether. From now on, when that happens and someone has to pay a sum of money because the streets have decided it's so, it will be named after me.
Well, okay.
So I have that going for me as a legacy.
Well, we know you're not going to get a press box named after you. So, I mean, you take what you can get.
That's what I'm saying.
Take
what I can get. And sometimes that's all you can get. Guys, we're going to wrap it up. I got a show coming up in a couple of hours. We'll have the noon show here on Orange Was Live with Chad Hastings, brought to you by the guys over at Texas Card House and Hijack Social. This one, though, brought to you by the guys at Rogue Shop. Take care of our brothers. Vote for Rogue Shop. And by all means, shop at Rogue Shop. It's the Christmas gift that will keep on giving. Trust me. buy some gummies for your mom and let her take them, and then let her joke with her friends about how she felt when she took them. And then they'll all want to take them because they heard about how cool they were. And then it will be Christmas gifts for everybody forever. Easy peasy, done. Just like that. Not like I'm speaking from experience or anything like that. I've just known a few drug dealers in my lifetime that have made weed brownies and had their moms stumble upon them accidentally. And every time, inevitably, the moms kind of like what the brownies do to them. Just throwing that out there. All right, guys.
Hold on 1 second. They say there was a super chat that came in real quick, Catch.
What's the best 2 scenarios to happen next weekend for Texas to be in a good spot? Tech obliterates BYU. Has to happen. That has to happen. Beyond that, maybe Georgia beating Alabama by 35 instead of 25. And then maybe that loss can be so bad that the idea that you don't punish a team in a championship game that gets their butts kicked has its limits. But anybody think Kirby's going to drop kick Alabama to the tune of like 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns? Probably not. Those games haven't traditionally gone that way. But that's probably the 2 things that could happen that would be the best thing going forward, because then if you're Texas and you could eliminate Alabama as a 2-loss team in the discussion, then it really is a conversation about OU, and Vanderbilt among those other SEC teams. And, Alabama's kind of a fly in the ointment because the pollsters don't want to put them behind Oklahoma because Oklahoma beat them, but they don't want to put them behind Texas because Texas has 3 losses and they only have 2. So in a weird way, Alabama is C-blocking Texas because they don't want to punish Oklahoma with the same logic that they're using to punish Texas. It's strange and it's weird.
The thing is, the committee will tell you is that, and what they've said is they don't like to punish teams that lose in the championship game because there's something to be said for playing for something as opposed to just sitting at home, right? So so there is that part of it. Now, I mean, obviously that's going to work in the ACC, but so there is that even if Bama loses, but the loss is because it happened in the championship game. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that now they're out of the way. I
wonder if Miami would be willing to sue their conference if in the end they'd get left out because there's the idea that the ACC can't have 2 teams. Like suing your parents because something crazy happened. I don't know. All right, guys, okay. I gotta go. We're gonna wrap things up for Anwar Richardson and myself, and the guys over at Specs for being the sponsor of the chat, and for the guys over at Rogue Shop for making it all go down on Overreaction Mondays. You guys have a great rest of the day. Have a great week. Stay warm.